Hello, this is Deborah Yao with Black Education TV, and I'm going to be discussing the DNA testing that is just going on so rampantly around the world. Everyone seems to want to find out where they came from, what's all mixed up in their blood, okay? Now, we have our ideas on whether or not we should be jumping on this bandwagon. Of course, people can do what they want, but we talked about it in broadcast before, how we just don't see how you can say that a person is from this or that unless you have ancient DNA, and especially if you're trying to connect people back to the tribes of Israel. Now, most people are not trying to be connected back to the tribes of Israel, but trying to get their DNA. And so they're finding out that they have this in them and that in them. And for me, I just believe that it's all they're doing is they're getting DNA markers from different regions, and they're saying, okay, based on this, you have this amount from that region or this region or that region. You see, there is some truth to it, but when you're trying to connect people to ancient cultures, I just don't buy it, okay? Another problem I have with this whole DNA frenzy that people are involved in. There was a woman who had 2 different companies do testing on her. She sent her DNA to 2 different labs, and she said they came back with results that were just way different, completely different. I mean, they weren't a smidgen off. They were way off. And that caused her to be very skeptical. And I understand. And that's one of the issues I had. How do you know that these people are doing things properly? And with her getting 2 tests done by 2 different companies and getting 2 different, vastly different results, that right there shows you that something is going on. Now, what I really want to talk about, though, is this. I watched a video where there was a Mexican family who were looking at their results. Okay. And they read off all the different things that they're mixed with. Of course, you know that like Latinos and Mexicans and the modern day Arabs, you know, certain other nations are a mixed group of people. They are not original people. They are mixed people, you see. But when they get to the part where it tells you the amount of African they have in them, I find that part funny, because I remember some time ago there was an Asian guy who set out to prove that he did not come out of Africa. He's like, I'm going to prove that we came of ourselves. That was his goal. But for me, anyone in this day and time who doesn't realize, know, and understand that everyone is out of Africa, whether they want to believe it or accept it or own up to it or not, everyone. I mean, that's where the original first humans came from. So to not know or to believe that you don't have any African in you is just ignorant to me. It's beyond ignorant at this stage in the game. As we showed and whited out, they came out of us. We didn't come out of them. 2 black parents could have a white-skinned child with blue eyes and blonde hair. Many examples of that. Look at Noah. His 2 black parents were afraid of him. They thought he looked like one of the children of the angels. It is what it is. If he looked like them, that fear wouldn't have been there. That's why Noah's parents were afraid of him. You see? Now, when you have 2 white people, a white man and a white woman, come together, they cannot have a child. They can never have a child that looks like Wesley Snipes. Now, there have been cases where they claim that a white couple had a black child, and you look at the child looks mixed, right? But they have come to discover in some of those cases somebody was tipping out. Now, they made a movie called Skin. And now, if you were paying attention, you know, people are saying, well, I think it's possible. I think it's possible. In the movie Skin, even, they were showing how the wife was just so super friendly with the Africans and how the husband did not like it. Why did they bother to put that in the movie? How the Africans would come into their place of business and she was super friendly and the husband was tattered by it. He was upset by it. Now, back then, the kind of testing they were doing is not the kind of testing they're doing today. Okay? But said all that to say this. So-called black people did not come from white people because it's scientifically impossible. But black people can have white children. And so for all these people to be shocked that they have black, or should I say African DNA in their blood mixture, for them to be shocked, oh my goodness, I'm surprised, I got African in me too, for them to be shocked, it shows you that people in this world today are not as bright as they pretend to be. They're not as smart or as wise as they pretend to be. If you didn't know, I'm sorry, at this stage in the game, if you didn't know that you had some African in you, whether you're Chinese, Latino, white, I don't care what you are. If you didn't know you had some African in you, you need to go back to school. Okay, I'm out, family.